Hi, this is Mark from LongIslandWatch.com. Today, the Islander Calverton makes another appearance. This is our homage of the Seiko Flightmaster back in, well, the popular blue, and 3 new colors which I want to show you, and a couple of upgrades which some of you might have been looking for. For my own wrist check today, on one wrist, another alarm watch, vintage Seiko Bellmatic, mechanical alarm watch. And on my other wrist is the Islander Thunderbolt, another pilot's watch. This guy will be back in stock, and next couple of weeks or so, it probably will be bringing some friends in different dial colors. So be on the lookout for that. I should say this more often. Remember, Canada, UK, New Zealand, Australia, you can buy Islanders duty-free from our website. That's it. Let's check out the new Calvertons. Say hello to your new Islander Calverton family. This is the holdover from the last run. This is model number ISL 283. It's going to have the improvements, though, that I talk about on all the models. So this is your new, let's go in order, ISL 324. White dial with red and blue accents. 325 is the gray dial with yellow accents. 326, full IP with yellow accents. And this is the one that I would say most closely resembles the original SNA 411 Flightmaster, except I did it in full IP black. I believe the SNA 4, is it the 414? No, the 414 was gold. I forgot the number. There is a black IP one, but I do not think it echoed the same yellow accents. Anyway, so let's go over it. So same as the original Calverton, same styling, same sizing. We have a couple of upgrades though. So number one, when the Urban Gentry did his review of the watch, he commented that the case back had the Islander lighthouse, and that was really not befitting of a flight chronograph. On that point, I fully agreed with him. So we swapped out the Islander caseback for a pair of F-14 Tomcats formation flying. Why Tomcat? Get to that in a second. I will have these casebacks available for purchase if you have an older Calverton and you want to retrofit in the future, but I will have them, probably not by the time you're seeing this video, but they will be coming. Another change that I made, because I really wanted it, is slightly larger print on the bi-directional E6B slide rule bezel, because I could not see it without really putting on glasses, let's say. So it's 15% larger, the print, so younger eyes probably had no problem, older eyes might have, and now older eyes still may have a problem, but hopefully some of you now can see it a little bit better. So why the name Calverton and the F-14 tying? Well, Calverton was well, kind of still is, but it's closed down, an airfield on eastern Long Island where Grumman test flew the F-14 Tomcat. The F-14 Tomcat obviously manufactured by Grumman here on Long Island. So that's kind of, that's the naming convention. Runs on the Seiko Epson YM62 movement. It is a now discontinued movement. I have a whole bunch of them for spares and parts and everything, and I probably have enough to make another run of watches. But just to let you know, after this, there may be another run, and then I to the Calverton's probably going to be done because, well, I'll have to get another movement. There are other movement options out there, but nothing exactly like this. 41.8 millimeters in diameter, 12.9 thick to a slightly domed sapphire crystal. Inner anti-reflective coating, 48 millimeters on the lug tip to lug tip. We do have that solid embossed caseback that I showed you. The bracelet is stainless steel, 20 millimeter sized with screws. Tapers from 20 to 18 down here at the clasp. A 6-position micro adjust fold over clasp with a milled scissor. 18 millimeters here at the clasp, so if you wanted to upgrade the clasp to something different, you most certainly could. Takes normal spring bars. As I said, these are, the links are sized with screws. It is solid, in case you did not see. Sorry to keep flipping it on you. It is solid and link. Screw down crown, screw down pushers, which is really cool. 200 meters of water resistance, 170 grams on that bracelet. Screw down crown, screw down pushers for that water resistance. Date at the 3. What makes this movement special is that it's not only a chronograph, it's also an alarm. So let's go over the chronograph first. You have the center yellow hand is chronograph seconds, so you would unscrew the top crown. It might have already been unscrewed. Yeah, you go. Yeah, it was. And you push it and the chronograph starts. You stop it and then you push the bottom one to reset it. Top subdial is elapsed chronograph minutes. the bottom subdial is what they call alarm time or reference time. Let me get these buttons screwed down. There we go, looks normal again with the button screwed down. So the bottom subdial is alarm time or reference time, and then on the left here is just running seconds, lets you know that the watch is running. So it is an alarm. You can set it for every 12 hours, and the way you would do it is you unscrew the crown, you pull out, you unscrew the crown. I guess I should, so normal operation, unscrew the crown, pull it out 2 clicks, you can change the time, 1 click, you can change the date. So now when you are 1 click out though, and you manipulate the buttons, you can change this alarm time. And if you set this anytime in the future, the alarm will sound at that time. What some people do to hack it to, instead of being an alarm being a second time zone, is they will change this time zone or this reference time in the settings. We have a link when you get the watch in the box. You can click the link, or excuse me, scan it with your phone, very technical, and it will show you how to set up the reference time. You just set the reference time to a different time zone, and then you have 2 separate time zones. Otherwise, these 2 will follow each other all of the time. Okay, so rotary slide rule bi-directional. $399 full IP or $379 for any of the steel. And the steel models have the same exact upgrades. You have the larger bezel printing. It may not look larger, but trust me, it is. I pulled up an older one. I was like, wow, it is larger. And that case back. So that was ISL 326 that you saw. This is ISL 325, gray dial with yellow accents. I was inspired to do this color theme from the Citizen Sikorsky collabs that Citizen does with Sikorsky, and I just love that color scheme. I think it looks so awesome. Kind of under the radar, kind of not. Really nice looking. So this is ISL 325. ISL 324, white dial. So we had a white dial before, but now we have a white dial again, this time with blue subdials, and then red and blue accents. I am calling this one unofficially the Thunderbirds, because it is painted like the F-16 Thunderbirds, which I actually had a chance to see one in, well, when it was at the Air National Guard base out there in Ogden, Utah, getting retrofit many, many years ago, my old job. That was pretty cool. So also 379, also with the same E6B slide rule. And then the last one is actually the first one. It's the ISL 283, is the original blue. Same updates with the case back and the larger printing on the bezel. When we did the Calvertons, is it a year ago maybe? The blue dial sold out really quickly. Within like a month or 2, the blue dial was gone. So we brought it back this time, second time around. Let's do a quick wrist shot. We'll do a loom, and then I'll just do a quick tutorial on the slide rule, and we'll be done. They all use C3 Superluminova, so telling the time at night is a breeze. There we go. You can see it's actually on my wrist. The seconds hand is pointing up, the chronograph seconds. So nice, easy to tell. Right now, it actually is the convenient 150, which is the antithesis of the popular 1010. Man, that is sharp. Awesome. 6.5 inch wrist below the bone, 6 3/4 above. What a good, man, this color combo, this thing screams. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So for those of you not interested in knowing how the slide rule works, this has been Mark from LongIslandWatch.com showing you the new Islander Calverton. Come check it out at LongIslandWatch.com. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Questions and comments, accept those on how to use the slide rule, because I'm going to go over that in a second. Leave them down below, and I'll address it as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye. And hello, those of you that want to know a little bit more, or you're going to watch and see if I know what the hell I'm doing. I got to admit, I do know what I'm doing, kind of. You did have to learn how to use an E6B slide rule as part of your PPL. Well, you should have at least. You're allowed to use calculators on the test, but it helps to know how to use it by hand. I'm going to do one quick calculation. Everything works on the basis of rate. And if you look at the bezel, and if you look at the inner bezel, if I line them up with the 60 on the 60, you'll see that they match here at the top, and it says rate right under that 60 under the glass. So right now we could say, let's just put everything in terms that people know, 60 miles an hour. Let's do so. 60 miles up top, 60 minutes on the bottom. So 60 miles in 60 minutes. You would agree with me that that is 60 miles an hour. So at that point, the bezel is set. So you say, okay, how far would we travel in 2 hours? Well, 2 hours is 120 minutes, so we can use the inner bezel here, the one under the glass. 1 hour 10, 1 hour 20, 1 hour 30, 1 hour 40, 2 hours, and then right above that is a 12, right? That 12 is 120. You have to know that it's logarithmic, so you knock off the zeros. I know, confusing. And then where does it meet on the other side, on the bezel? 1, 2, 0. So we would have traveled 120 miles in 2 hours. In 3 hours, 180 miles, and so forth and so on. So Mark, that was easy, 60 on 60. So let's say we're in a Cirrus, which is what I fly, and Cirruses do 120 knots over kind of total airspeed, just about, but let's just say it's 120. So 1, 2, remember, we're going to drop a 0, 120 knots, nautical miles in 60 minutes. So how far would we have gone in, let's say, 7 hours? Well, not 7 hours is too much. We don't carry that much gas. Let's say 4 hours. So let's find the 4. 4 hours is right there, right? And that's 240 minutes. And if I come up and I read here, it's on the 48. That would be 480 miles. And that is it. You set the scale once, and once you set the scale, you're done. You read off all your calculations. You could do this to calculate tips at 20%, 1.2 is what you would set up, so forth and so on. It is a genius thing, the rotary slide rule. Where I used to work, and there were a lot of smart people, and there were people that when I left in the mid-2000s, they still were designing and performing extremely complex antenna RF calculations on linear slide rules. So it is amazing what can be done. But that is how you use the rotary slide rule. Hope you found that interesting. Thanks for sticking around and letting me be a little bit of a teacher for you today. Have a good day. Bye-bye.